Yeah, hello, this is another episode of the Intelligent Document Processing Podcast. Today I can welcome Rik Krieger, who is a startup guy. Is that correct?
Let's say yes. Yes. No, what is a startup guy?
That's a very good question. Actually, when we first met, I think it was in the context of when I was doing Accounto and you was at Connect.
Exactly.
And that's actually funny. And I remember we got to this. You sort of called me up and said, "Hey, I need bookkeeping," and then I come over to our place. I need to explain it to you. And and there was this very generic office where there was like just a couple of tables and four tables and some chairs, and you were there, this super energetic guy, talking a lot, and I was like going, look, this is going to be a venture that's going to the moon, and we're going to build this, and we're going to build that. I mean, not like O-tone, but it actually was in the sense of that we were going to build this and that, and I was asking, and what's your business model? And they said, well, we're going to replace ATMs because cash will be super relevant in the future because there will be less ATMs. And I was sitting there thinking, why did I come over? Because that sounded like a very bad joke. But you are, as a person, you have been very convincing. So and very fun. So and then later found out you also are a great entertainer, sort of comedian guy as well, and
on drinks at night.
On drinks at night.
From 8 to 8, I'm very, 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 very serious.
All right.
Not a second.
Yeah. Super boring, very serious guy.
But just like you, because that's the reason why we got so well along. That was really cool because you had this amazing idea about Accounto.
Yeah.
Which the guy who rented out the office space to us said I need an accounting system. I want something online. I don't put anything on paper. That was my stupid idea. And then he said, and he was into bookkeeping. He's like, yeah, I heard about that one. We don't use it because that's like modern. I was like, why is it modern? It's a state of the art. It's like that's how it should be. And then you came over and was like, cool, finally. Why is it still a startup? I mean, isn't that normal since 200 years? And I think, but that's what, let's maybe call it startup guys, like also you stuff do when you explain it is like that was not there before. Like, and then it's like, I think it's the nice explanation of, okay, that's a cool story because the idea is you get it in a second.
True.
And you're like, why didn't I get the idea? And a few months later, actually, somebody asked me, it's like, hey, Rik, how do you set up the entire processes? Like, how do you digitalize? And I looked at that person, he was from a corporate company. It was like, what do you mean? Like, how do I digitalize? I mean, I set it up digitally. Okay, so how do you decide what you set up digitally and what you do? Like the old fashioned is like, you try to set it up as lean as possible. That's the reason why I counter, and that's the reason why I also like PowerShift, because it's one of these ideas which are just logic and nobody understands why it's not bigger and there since 20 years.
Yeah. As a sort of I'm sort of a victim of this kind of. I have this idea and then grow to the idea to the point where you can't just left it undone. You need to try it, and then you at some point you actually think, oh, I should never have started that. It's going to be way longer. The road is going to be more windy than I thought. So yeah.
Isn't that the definition of a startup guy? Like what most people think about it. So you have an idea, so you're some kind of crazy or drunk, in my terms, usually both. Then you start to think about it like seriously, and you discover like, oh, okay, that actually could be something. Yeah. And then you have the motivation and the enormous energy and power to really turn it into something and make it big. That doesn't mean that all the startups which are big have amazing ideas. There's loads of huge startups who had, in my eyes, medium good ideas, but the world loves it. But I'm not, I'm not the measurement. I'm not, in no way. But that doesn't also mean that if a startup fails, that it was a bad idea. Most of the time it was just bad timing. The market wasn't ready. The person was too
mediocre execution, basically.
Yeah. And then maybe some number five for this one would be maybe something that you're able to multitask 100 million things at the same time, because it's not only about having a great idea and finding some money. Okay, and then some people. Okay, then you need to do accounting as well, and you need to be the company needs to be in the register. Okay, then you need to have office space. Okay, when that one. Oh, there's then you need to electricity. Laptops. Yeah, laptops also something like that. So you need to there's so much thing you need to build left and right around that somehow you need loads of energy and loads of belief in it in order to make it happen. And you need to be very lucky with the timing and with the right people.
You actually were very good at this. I over the course, I sort of learned that you are a very good startup executive in the mean of executing the things. You're actually you was one of the co-founders of Sonect and sort of the CEO, as I understood it. Because you were very fast in organizing things, and you also was presenting Sonect at the Höhle der Löwen, right?
It was a similar format. It was on ProSieben. It was called.
Yeah, one of those.
One of these things. Yeah. But it was the first one in Switzerland. Yes.
Yeah, I saw that. That was a surprise, and I think it was awesome. Yeah, it was just
it was fun.
Very good.
Above all, that was fun. Yeah. It was a good team in the background. Yeah.
So and then you left Sonect, and I remember we had lunch shortly after you've left Sonect, and
it was a good lunch.
Yeah,
you showed me a new restaurant I really like.
And in Zurich, I think, and you were saying, okay, now what's next? What's next? What are you going to do? And we were thinking about different ideas, and then eventually you told me about HOPR and how this is going to be the future, and then I sort of lost track a bit, to be frank, of Rik.
Well, then the pandemic kicked in, and I think everybody went kind of underground. Because you don't have these startup operos, you don't have these gatherings where you like ongoingly meet, and that's what's now is getting in back, that you meet people live. Because online you do appointments, you don't do social gathering.
Absolutely, yeah. Most people do not. Maybe my mom did during the pandemic. So let's have a glass of wine. Yeah, let's have a glass of wine. How do we do that? Don't you have Skype? That was how she went. Like
I can perfectly drink alone.
Yeah.
No, I mean. See, that's also a nice concept we've never thought about, because of course, if you're
a lot
alone,
of people did this
involuntarily alone.
Yeah.
So it's Skype and wine.
Yeah. Teams and wine.
Dining wine, but Skype and wine.
Yeah. So actually, this was the last time. I think it was the last time we met, and then I have this other data point where there was like the presentation of the HOPR devices, which I kind of remember. I'll give you a lot of time to actually explain that, because I don't have the full picture. And the last data point, the Rik Krieger data point in my brain is last week. Coinbase announced that the HOPR token was actually listed.
And it was actually exactly as that order and that easy. So
was
launching a HOPR device as a blockchain company and then going on a big listing.
That's my perception, that's sort of the pattern my brain stored. It's like, okay, I meet this guy in this shady office. He tells me this is going to be big. And then the next thing I see is him on television, and Sonect is actually going to be a big success story. And then there's like this crazy repetition of the same pattern, like where you tell me, well, this is going places, HOPR will going places, and we have like one intermediate step, and then this is this freaking Coinbase listing, which is really, really awesome. So
I'm happy if it looks that easy from the outside. And actually, it's much easier, to be frank.
I'm not saying it. I mean, it looked very easy. So it looks like
that's how it should look now. Yeah. I mean, you want to motivate and engage more people to come into the startup space, and that's the only way how I motivate other people to kick in. Like, hey, that's more
By not telling them how much of a drama startup life is.
You can't.
Yeah.
It's like people ask me. There's many people who have the perception that perception changed a little bit, but maybe you have similar experiences. There's many people who tell me you became a startup founder because you never wanted to report to anybody. You don't want to have a boss. It's like freak hell. Seriously, never. I mean, having a boss is amazing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not my responsibility.
Yeah.
Fine. You're responsible for everything. Yeah. There's no toilet paper. I know there's more important stuff. Thank you for taking care of the tech stuff, but I'm gonna fetch the toilet paper. Yeah. Not a problem, because that's my thing. Yeah. And then the other thing is that, and maybe that's good, that people have no idea up front how much operational and administrational hassle it is in the background to set up things correctly.
True.
And I'm not talking about paying taxes, because that's only a problem when you have income and then there's, when the revenue kicks in. I'm talking about all these small little details, and I think Switzerland is even super easy to do. It's super easy to set a company online. It's super to have, all the HR and all the social security stuff is easy to pay. There's not big.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to imagine if you do that in a country where it's really complicated.
Such as Germany.
So, there's other stuff which could improve in their startup space in Switzerland, like taxes, like rules for taxing, like, hey, all the VCs out there. I'm sorry to say this is very generic, but what's your feeling about it?
Well, I think we don't have a lot of VCs.
That's the point.
Yeah, that's while I admire like the younger and smaller, I know a lot of like more of the high net worth people that invest 2 equal amounts on a yearly basis as these newer VCs do. It's sort of hard to get, and I think most of the people underestimate how important it would be to have real VCs here. So that
thank you. Yeah.
Because if you want to grow a business that's a bit more than just like a marketing service, nothing against marketing startups or something but if you need more money to actually develop technology, which is hard, you are almost forced to go abroad. And so if you have like investors from abroad, especially from the US, then you tend to actually it's a very natural. The moving away becomes more natural, and more intuitive.
It does.
And I think that's tricky. And I think if everybody moves away, then this is what the real value of having a vital startup scene is like a blood refreshment to the economy. And I think we should have more. Fostering more the whole system, the startup system, and I don't think it's done by creating even more incubator programs and all these kind of things. I think what really would help is people taking investment very seriously here and really take the risk into. I mean, I'm biased technology companies, basically, because I think that's really. That's really what could help Switzerland quite a bit.
I don't want to criticize VCs too much, but I have to agree with you, and that's my personal feeling, and that doesn't mean that this is the absolute truth. But I agree with you a lot, and I don't really know what the solution would be. Maybe more successful startups, but because I feel that some VCs just invest in what they really understand and are comfy with. Which is a generic problem, because if you want to invest in disruptive companies, takes a lot to understand it. And also, of course, the VC can't think through every idea to death, so you have to see the team, the market. So it's complex analysis for the VCs. That's a fact.
It's work.
Exactly, that's the point, and that's where I feel that some VCs, not criticizing all of them, but some VCs. In my eyes, it feels a little bit more like gambling. I know a few ones who take it really serious, and I think that it's a perfect match, because I'd like to be challenged, and I like to see a VC challenge the startup, but also help them and support them. Most VCs just throw money at you, and they want whatever reports. Most of them can't read, or most of them then don't read.
Yeah.
Maybe I really just know the bad ones, but most of them. But a VC who is throwing money at you should say, okay, I'm doing this and that amount of money in a first round. I want to see this and that. This is where I can help, and then really do something. Pick up the telephone, dedicate, let's say, only 2 hours per month. And I think this is from people with connections, with know-how, who, really can move the needle a little bit. These 2 hours per month would be outstanding.
Yeah, would be game changing for most.
Exactly. And it that is complex, and they need to do their due diligence and make their analysis. But I think it's complex on both sides. But expert VCs who, as you say, like, I'm a technology VC, I invested in this and that. This startup is helping my ecosystem. So if I invest in this startup, it can help the two others. Like what you're doing with your companies, that makes sense, and then it's really moving something, and then the relationship between VCs and startups could improve dramatically.
Absolutely. Did you feel like the narrative or sort of the notion has changed? Where I think there was like a lot of discussions not on the same eye level. Like there was like startups were pitching for VCs, and there was like sort of bad behavior, not responding back from VCs, or ghosting in the process was very common. And I think it's very hard to actually have a proper impression of the situation. But what I felt is like the last 2 years, there's like a lot of companies starting to beg for investments. I mean, VCs. It sort of felt like the coin flipped. Yeah, so. At some points we were starting to be contacted by really the A brand VCs from the US very systematically, checking in super early. They exactly knew that we were in a stage where they would not invest, but sort of starting to keep the relation just.
But that's
to be ready. That's
how it should
professional.
Be. It's like, hey, I heard about your product. Let's start to keep in touch, because nobody gets a meeting. An agreement, and then he gets whatever 5 million on the table, and that doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah. It's like an investment. It's like you don't buy shares of whatever Deutsche Lufthansa or UBS because 550, I buy it. You look at track record.
Exactly.
You look at the share for whatever a few better months than days, and then you get a feeling for the entire market. And it's like, okay, now it seems to be good, but this is how it should be. To come back to your questions, and I don't want to be so bad about VCs. Some even told me that also in the Web3 space it switched. So like half a year ago there was kind of a tipping point where they recognized they got naughty questions back, like, okay, and why are you the one who's investing in my project? Yeah. And they're like, huh? Well, yes, what do you bring to the table? Yeah. And I think it's a wise question. It's a good question, because every relationship needs to be, on eye level, and I'm giving this, and you're giving that, you're taking this. Because only this is how you really bring value to the table. Yeah. You should select your VCs like you select your employees. Absolutely. And because no employees are below you, VCs are above you, it's all on the same eye level. Yeah. And then I think if everybody talks to everybody in a most interested fashion, then it's very productive, and it's very, motivating, and then I think everybody's also motivated and engaged and happy to deliver something and help. Because if you're only looking at 20x minimum, you have 3 days. Yeah, it's like these investments are rare. Yeah, absolutely. So tell me more about unless you invest in ParaShift, of course. So. Yeah, I mean, we're working very hard that ParaShift is going to be. How can I put this right? For a lot of people to be a very bad missed opportunity. That's the best you can do to all the VCs. Which, let's not hit too hard on VCs. There are some that are very good. Actually, I made very good experiences with
like I said, with the A brand VCs.
Yeah.
And it's almost like if a VC ghosts you or does not respond to intros, it's actually all the B players. They're having this behavior. It's almost like a proven pattern. It's really crazy. So I got like respectfully turned down by so many VCs, A brand VCs, and they were like, some even calling me after like their first analysis. They're telling me, well, right now it's not the right time. Maybe the next few rounds it's not like something we feel comfortable to invest in, which I mean in the field. But we sort of want to keep up the relationship because they all know, if you have a certain age, you probably make your way out and then you start something new. And
that's the point.
And we start talking about VCs, which we never did before. So I could like. When off record, I could give you a list of 10 VCs I would never work with, even if they would give free money to us. So it's just like because I knew their we can dub it the VC bashing session.
And I'm sorry this is going in this direction, but A, I agree with you, and B, I have to say on the other side also. I mean, A, I agree with you very much on no matter if it's a good. I mean, yes, most of the time it is an A-class VC who is very professional, who gives you a reason for why not or why not now, and tries to keep up the relationship because, as you said, they know that maybe there's a connection, maybe I can do an intro later to somebody else and other stuff. But I also, and this is regards to the VCs, I do also understand that, as you said in the beginning, there's thousands of projects who are chasing the VCs.
Absolutely.
One of the things I do not understand properly is why they just do why they, let's say, professionalize the selection process up front. Like what I do in HR with all the people who are coming in. There's a special system with some questions, which I don't know how many companies are doing it, but I think I'm one of the few ones who are doing it, like 20 personal questions, asking stupid stuff like what's your favorite color, what would give mascot stuff, but where I do a certain kind of pre-selection because I like humorous people for various reasons. I think that they are clever and they're smart and it's fun to work with, so I'd like to see this direction already in the questionnaire. So if I see the questionnaires, then maybe it doesn't fit the team, and I want a positive team culture. Everybody likes each other, everybody helps each other, and I think that is if you try to walk your life with a smile as long as it's possible, that this will be easy. So maybe VCs could also, because I know that they're getting thousands of stupid requests, and let's be honest, it's not that there's like 5 million power shifts and accountants out there who really make a lot of money. So I think I do understand the situation of a VC. It's not that it's like
it's just
they just have the money.
95% is crap. Yeah, that's the other side.